Rachel Harris, sorry, is with us.
Rachel Reeves, the future Chancellor of the Exchequer.
It's been a long month. It's been a long 6 weeks. Can you believe it's been 6 weeks since Singing in the Rain? Since Sunak in the Rain.
Yeah, I know.
6 weeks. 6 long, miserable weeks for the Tories.
In a
a
roller coaster.
Guys, I'm telling you, I've enjoyed it. It's been a party. And it really does feel like Christmas Eve, does it not?
Every day.
Every day has been Christmas Eve.
Yeah, every day Rishi picks a landmine up, walks out of number 10, puts it on the ground, steps on it. I've loved it.
It's been so predictable. In fact, someone said a couple of days ago, is there even time for one more gaffe, one more screw up? And then he goes and brings Boris Johnson back from the dead, looking like Wurzel Gummidge's nan.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, what was that? All it's done is reminded everybody of Partygate, of corruption, of lies.
Yeah.
Said he looked like Jimmy Savile.
He just looked
after he'd been like he died and fallen in the lake. And he's been in the lake for 3 days, and they dragged him out the lake.
The bloat.
And he was all dead and bloated. And it was Jimmy Savile.
He was the ultimate bin bag full of custard soup.
Oh, he was.
Danny has already given us a super chat. Thank you very much, David. Oh, I just realised that no one can hear what we're saying.
No one can hear what we're saying.
Well, no, they could hear what Rachel was saying. They just couldn't hear what we were saying.
Well, they were hearing the best half.
Yeah. Yes.
Can they hear us now, Graham?
Yes, they can hear us now. I've turned the mic on.
Yes. Someone says Rachel is sounding good. Others are quiet.
Yes. Yeah. No, we should be. You should be able to hear us now. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Big Fat Election Jamboree, where we're going to be just reviewing the last 6 weeks of election madness.
Oh my God, that's going to take days. So much has happened. It's been crazy.
Yes.
Party by party.
Well, yeah. Should we do that?
Well,
first of all, David Downey, before we get ahead of ourselves, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. Remember to post stopthetories.vote on every political post with a comment section. We've had some amazing response for the stopthetories.vote today. We've had that football guy has reposted it. The singy guy who's always at Glastonbury has reposted it. The somebody else.
Did Hugh Grant do it?
Hugh Grant, that's the one, the actor guy.
He did.
Yes.
Also, Gary Neville has been retweeting stopthetories.vote as well.
That's the footballer guy.
I believe he's got 5.5 million followers on Twitter, which is pretty good.
That's pretty good.
It's almost as many as me and Graham, so he's gonna have some reach. No, Rachel, what you just said about reviewing it party by party, I think is probably more manageable than trying to go back chronologically, because I'll get lost. And if I may, could we start with perhaps the Lib Dems and end, of course, with the Tories? Because I have a few feelings about the Lib Dems, and I think.
Oh, do you?
No, I do.
Sexy
I have
feelings.
Well, sort of, because I didn't know very much about Ed Davey before all this kicked off. Obviously, we all knew about Jo Swinson. She did her bollocks to Brexit bit, then sodded off when it went wrong and lost a seat. But Ed Davey, he's kind of come in from the cold. He's kind of warmed to everybody that I think has been spending a bit of time with him. The things I think they've got right, as far as an election campaign goes, I don't think they've hit a bum note. What he's done is he's very cleverly married these crazy stunts. Very cleverly. There's a lovely video of him, by the way, on the street getting harassed last night. Anyway, no, he's very cleverly brilliantly managed these crazy stunts with really serious policy choices, whether it's mental health issues, whether it's the NHS, whatever it is, social care, particularly carers' allowances. And he's merged those two things together absolutely brilliantly. He's come across as dead empathetic. He's produced by far, I think, the best party political broadcast I've ever seen. You'd have to be very cynical not to doubt its sort of veracity. And then also, he's had this brilliant hidden weapon of Daisy Cooper coming out on all the debates for him, absolutely bossing it. So I think as campaigns go, Lib Dems get a 10 out of 10. And if I could vote for them, I so would. And I hope everybody does who can, because if they were to form the next official opposition, by God, that would be the icing on the cake, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it really would. I've sort of had a love-hate relationship with them. I loved, because I remember Jo Swinson. I saw her speak several times back in the day, and liked her. I thought she was great, and I was really upset when Ed Davey got shit. And then he's grown on me. And then she's done some very dodgy interviews recently where she's been a bit
Who? Jo Swinson?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, kind of, little bit. Well, we got Brexit, and let's get it. It's done now. We've got to make the best of it.
You're right.
We don't have to make the best of it.
No, you're right. And I saw her on, I think it was Newsnight, talking about the post office inquiry, and I thought, oh my God, is that how I think it is? And it was. And she just popped up out of nowhere. I mean, I'm assuming she's been off for 3 or 4 years, making a shed load of money somewhere. I have no idea, but
So her views changed. But Ed did the right thing with it, because they were always going to give old Nige the they give him a seat. He only has to open a jar of coffee, and they have him on Newsnight. Whereas, they were never going to give the Lib Dems or Greens a fair whack at anything on. So they had all those stunts. They went and filmed that, got him in. People are talking about the Lib Dems.
It's so simple. It's very, very clever. And Graham wants to take a bit of credit for this, because he's advised them to do just that, haven't you, Graham?
I don't know. I had a meeting. I had dinner with some young Lib Dems a few years ago, and I said, you got to do mad stuff. Yeah. Just get in the news. It doesn't matter what you do. Just get in the news. Yeah. And I don't know, that filtered through.
I think it did. He bungee jumped yesterday, didn't he?
Yeah,
do something you've never done for the first time. So he bungee jumps. I've not got the guts to do that, so fair play to him.
But I've voted Labour many times, so I'm going to be doing the same thing that I do. Same thing we do every time. Yeah,
but hopefully a lot of people will be voting Lib Dem for the first time.
I mean, there's a couple of genius things. I mean, one, put the empathy, talked about his son and the support, and that's been really good. They talk about trans stuff openly in there, and non-binary recognition. So from my point of view, they're one of the few parties that have really gone out, and that was been really good. And I think the signing behind Sunak on the boat on Henley River, wherever it was, that was genius. When they went past with the signs, highlight of my Lib Dem.
Oh, the boat bomb. That was so funny.
Genius. Do you know how to get that right and be there?
But of course, the brilliance of that was that Rishi Sunak didn't once turn around, see what was going on. But we could all see behind him this little boat. It was like a cartoon bobbing by with all these little orangey mustard placards. It was so funny. Absolutely brilliant. That.
It was brilliant. And I think the audience Sunak was sitting with looked a bit uncomfortable. I think they had to, because he rocked up at the rowing club and nobody wanted to be with him, and then he had to pay some money, and so
it was. I think that moment was probably second only to that moment. The bald guy was told to move from behind the JCB and stand in front of the woman pulling very weird, because there was this woman. It was one of these high vis factory appearances that were all stage managed, but this woman she didn't get the memo, because she was grimacing, she was sniggering. She was bored out of her head. And then clearly this guy turns up, he's looking into his phone, stand in front of the woman pulling funny faces. And he literally tries to do that. Can't even get that right. Perfect. Has to be told to move again. I mean, that was a bizarre moment, that was. Yeah. In a campaign of bizarre moments.
That was funny. We used it. Graham used it as an end of title in one of his.
I loved having the guy. I just kept on putting him on over everything that we didn't want people to see.
Yeah. I didn't know his name for 5 minutes, but I've forgotten it now.
I just want to say a big hi to everyone in the chat. We've got Victoria in there, Duke, we've got Alan Angry Pagan, we've got Sfax. We've got Mikey. How you doing, Mikey, over in America? How you doing, mate? We've got Nick, we've got Sarah. In there, we've got Unquiet Badger, which is fantastic because we don't like quiet badgers around here. We don't trust them. Billy Kershaw is in there as well. And Sarah Davis. Hi, Sarah.
Hey, Sarah.
We are. We this was a bit of a last minute thing. I just kind of got in touch with Ben. And
I was watching Rachel. Halo, drinking a glass of Prosecco.
And
you can continue drinking a glass of Prosecco. Have a link. I don't think you need to stop.
I honestly finished doing the graphics like 2 minutes before we came on, so that's why we were
get the party started early, because
the reason why we were a bit late getting started, by the way, is my green screen behind it's set up for me on my own. It's not set up for two people, so we've kind of got it on a poof. It's being held up by a poof.
Yeah.
And we've had ourselves surgically attached to each other.
Yes. Someone mentioned that we're looking like Statler and Waldorf.
So is there anything else to say then about the Lib Dem campaign worth saying? I think we've probably covered everything there.
No, but if they are not, almost it feels like if the strategic vote isn't Labour, it's probably going to be Lib Dem.
Apart from two seats, I think, or maybe three where it's green.
Yeah, then make sure you go and you drag yourself and somebody down to the polling booth tomorrow, and because all the exit polling tonight doesn't put them at number 2 yet, does it? So
it doesn't. But I was talking to Graham earlier tonight about this, and my perhaps this is a vain hope, and it's a very slim possibility. But if say the Tories do end up with an absolute extinction level event, 68 seats, which is possible, and the Lib Dems get 51, 52, low 50s. Surely, if they enter into a coalition opposition, if that's even a thing, with the two Greens and the SNP, they can form the official opposition, because no one's going to deal with the Tories. So is that a thing, Rachel, do you think?
I've never heard of a coalition.
Neither have I, but
there's never been one before, but there's nothing to stop one from happening.
That would just
Parliament just makes its own rules about stuff.
Brilliant. It would be brilliant. Almost as good as Count Binface actually being elected.
So what happens to the speaker? Is he going to keep his seat? Yes. Isn't he Conservative?
No,
he's Labour. He's Labour.
He's Labour, is he?
That's
Mr. Cup of Tea is Labour, is he?
Yeah, I don't think it's contested. So when you see the map of Britain, there's like a black hexagon near Liverpool, and that's the Speaker's seat.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, learn something new every day.
It's actually up for grabs. And the people there don't really have an MP. It's a bit of a weird situation. You don't really want your constituency MP to be the Speaker because you don't get as much stuff done as...
Get a nice cup of tea when you go and see him, though. You know.
It does do the best cup. Imagine if you went to see him and he made you a lousy cup of tea. Like, just dip the tea bag in for a second and then put way too much milk in, and you're like, what is this, Lindsay? What is this? You go on about tea all the time. This is the best you can do. Someone said that they're really looking forward to Owen Jones and Laura Kunsberg crying.
Oh, yeah.
Together, that'd be great. She is presenting the BBC coverage with Clive Myrley. I feel sorry for Clive. I tell you, I really do. He's a good guy. He's a really good guy, especially when he hosts. Have I got news for you?
Yes. And they make him swear, don't they? They always make him say like really horrible things.
Oh, it's great.
They put it on the auto cue.
Very, very good.
Someone's asking who you are, Ben. This is Ben Chambers from 16 Million Rising podcast, which you should listen to because
it is. I try my best. I'm Ben. I do a little radio show called 60 Million Rising, SMR, which also stands for Single-Minded Rejoiners. And it's on all podcast platforms, Alexa and Mixcloud, every Monday and all week. And it's free. So do have a listen. www.16millionrising, all in one big long word.co.uk.
It's 16 the word, not 16 the word, the number, which I was writing last week when I was trying to send emails to Ben, and then they were all bouncing back.
And I'm going to have to change everything I do after the election because I've spent the last year at least doing nothing but slagging the Tories off. So
we'll have Reform to attack.
Yes.
Well, we will. And actually, that's a great segue, Rachel, into talking about their campaign. Yes. Do you think? Because that's been some campaign as well, hasn't it?
Well, they peaked.
God.
It was so funny because you can't make a post on any social media platform without a sort of British English flag and I'm going to vote Reform, Rottweiler. And it's like, oh God. And it's just like Rottweiler. And I have down arrowed those and just sort of said, fuck off on a load of them. Yeah. And they never respond because they're not real.
No, they're bots. It's a magnet for bots.
So many bots.
But did you see? I mean, it was only, I think, Saturday night.
38 billion views they've had on their videos.
But again, by bots. But no, led by donkeys. And you think they're never going to outdo themselves. They've always got something up their sleeve. How the hell they infiltrated this Columbine Centre, I believe, somewhere in Kent, that he was doing a hate rally at. And just, it's the way the banner of Putin with I Heart Nigel at the bottom lowered itself so beautifully slowly from the ceiling.
Fitted.
It was amazing.
They tried to pull it down, and they
tried to pull it down, and of course they couldn't. And someone's put the Bernard Cribbins "Right Said Fred" comedy song over the footage of them trying to pull the damn thing down, and they couldn't get it down. It's just, it's too good. That was a wonderful.
Somebody must have seen the booking and gone in a week before. I mean, they did that with Hitler, and they were going to blow him up. Like somebody went and planted a bomb in a pillar a week before. I mean, that's just, it's all about the bookings.
Absolutely. And of course, also, I think today we've had another one. There's been at least 2 now. Reform candidates disown the party. One of them, a woman today, has actually said, I want nothing to do with these people. But the thing is, you kind of think, well, where have you been for the last few months? Because it's pretty obvious that anyone that would want to campaign for this party is a racist, is a bigot. That's kind of the MO of the party. It's in their DNA.
It's it's back to Matt and Webb. Are we the bad guys?
Exactly, And she's like, hang on a minute. She's just realised. But fair play, even if at the last minute you make that.
It is very much. I never expected the leopards eating people's faces party to be my face. I'm like, you joined Reform, and they're literally. God. How could you not know? It's like.
And the other thing worth commenting on Reform is that Nigel is making everybody that goes to see him speak about his campaign pay. Yeah. Everything is a paid event, whether it's a rally at Trago Mills in Somerset or wherever it is, or it's the town hall in Clacton, which, by the way, it's worth emphasising again. He said, do I want to spend every Friday in Clacton for the rest of... They're going to vote for the guy. I mean, it's like he shits on them repeatedly, and they love it. They love it, and it just makes them love him more. I can't get into that mentality.
Shit on me, Nigel.
I just don't
Shit
get
on
it.
me.
Yeah, shit on me more, Nigel.
Shit on me chest. Oh,
Oh, lovely. You've got my vote.
What's really weird is that they sort of box pop in the afternoon in Clacton,
Yeah.
And it looks like a Right Said Fred sort of tribute afternoon. It's just like, oh my God.
I mean, it's sad, isn't it? Because he's deliberately picked the constituency he thinks is the thickest as mints constituency in Britain. He couldn't go for Skegness and Boston, and arguably that's even denser.
Blackpool is now Labour.
His mate Richard Tyson's got that one.
It wasn't
and then you've got Ben Habib standing somewhere more in the Midlands, I think. But this is the guy that says he wants to drown migrants.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, like Graham just said, the leopards eating people's faces party. It's like, what on earth persuaded you at the beginning to even think about it?
I mean, did you see Femi sneaked in and he filmed some of one of the...
He got kicked out, didn't he?
He did. But the stuff was, it's all woke and gender ideology and all that rubbish. It's all everything you'd expect.
Yeah.
And the audience all sort of a certain age, and, you know, it just...
Well, all of a certain age and certain colour, which tends to be tomato red with a very inflated head.
You're not allowed to say gammon because they get very upset.
No, you can be. Well, did you know I had a very interesting conversation on Twitter. Someone was actually defending the non-use of that term on the grounds that it was racist. Yeah. And I had to point out that being pig ignorant isn't a race. You know, and if that makes you go apoplectically red like a tomato with rage because your ignorance, you can't square that, the cognitive dissonance makes you go red. That's not a race. Yeah. It's like, get over yourself.
Did you know there's a website called atmodestproposal.uk? It's by a guy who calls himself Dr. Jonathan Swift-Arth. And basically it's saying that we should eat the gammon because there's so many of them. Yeah. And like, we don't know what to do with them because they don't want foreigners coming over and looking after them in their old age. And I'm not doing it because they can fuck off. So, So
I'm Irish. We like a bit of gammon, so it's fine.
You have to cook them for a long time.
How many candidates has Nigel actually disowned himself? 7. I mean, they've kicked some out.
7 have gone.
So they have actually kicked some out for being even too racist for them.
Yeah, but that Channel 4 guy that, you know...
Yeah.
I mean, that was a pretty difficult documentary to watch, but... You know, that if the bots are that guy was an actor. Yeah,
he was an actor.
Lawrence
Fox.
Yeah, but so
was Ronald Reagan.
So was Vladimir Zelensky. Yeah. And I don't think anyone is doubting his integrity when it comes to talking about.
He's just pretending to be the president of Ukraine.
Yeah, Channel 4 didn't hire him to be a racist.
No, I know, but Farage is going with that because as is his MO, everything is everyone else's fault. He's never taken responsibility for anything.
I hate that type of person. We all know someone in your life who you mess up, and you want them just once in their life to go, oh yeah, I messed up there. Yeah. Sorry. But they never do. No. It's always, but this happened and then this happened. And
it was a vetting company.
Arrested Development it is.
We paid them £144,000 and they didn't do what they said they were going to do.
And the brilliant thing about that is that the vetting company doesn't vet people. It just gives you the platform.
Yeah.
It's a bit like going, I downloaded Microsoft Word and it didn't do me homework for me.
But if you were running a party like Reform, would you switch the vetting software on? I would.
Exactly. Just to get rid of
well, do you know what? I mean, what are the parameters you put into it? How do you vet a candidate to be a Reform? I mean, presumably they've got to be at least a little bit racist, haven't they? It wouldn't work otherwise. I just don't know. I don't know what.
I don't know how you would. What would?
But on a serious,
just before you come to these serious points, Tim Ballum, thank you very much for the £10 super chat. It's really kind. If the screen did come down, it could have made it into the Darwin Awards 2024. God, that would have been funny. God, imagine Farage just being taken out by a led by donkeys stunt.
Oh please,
please.
That's the next one.
And Anuska, thank you very much for the super chat there, Anuska. Hi, Alec. Since I like you, since I love history just as much as you and Graham. Hi, Rachel. So there you go.
We've got to learn from history. I mean, I do wonder.
That's a serious thing.
My serious point was that they are on course to get some seats, and I think they could be looking at 5, 6, maybe even 7. Okay, 3. I've got mixed feelings about whether having them exposed in the House of Commons to an even wide, because we think they've got a wide audience now, because we fall into this trap of thinking, well, 38 billion people have seen all that. No real people have seen their crap.
No real people watch Prime Minister's Questions.
True, but it's repeated and it's reported on the evening news at 6 and 10 that night. Yeah. More people are going to know about the fact that there's no substance behind any policy that they think they have.
Have to be.
There's just nothing there. But but
they'd just be doing stunts.
Okay, well, my question to them would be: is he going to be exposed to more people for what he really is? No. Or will it legitimise him further?
It will legitimise him.
Well, only if we had proper journalists, we would be fine. If the BBC,
we have got some,
but they won't ask. They won't ask him. I mean, we'll have to get
Victoria Derbyshire will.
She might, and Lorraine. She's the only one that asked.
Sorry, did you mean Lorraine Kelly?
I do.
Lorraine Kelly's not a political journalist, though, is she? Really? She presents.
Victoria Derbyshire follows me on Twitter.
All right, well done, Victoria Derbyshire.
I know it's funny, but Lorraine
Campbell follows me. So does Ed Davey.
Anti-trans people going around all the platforms. The only one that challenged them was Lorraine Kelly.
Okay, fair play to Lorraine Kelly. That's great. I love Victoria Derbyshire.
Yeah, me too.
Who's the other one that I really quite like? Is it Sky?
The Sky one.
Oh, Beth Rigby's good. Beth Rigby's pretty.
She's good. Yeah,
she doesn't take any shit.
Prime Minister, how do you handle that?
But Laura Kunsberg is absolutely awful.
She is something else.
She is like how has she still got a job being so bad at what she's supposed to do?
But it's so blatant. Yeah. She even, I think it was the last election campaign, she turned up in the back of a cab at one point talking about the fact that postal votes revealed a certain trend in the election, and she wasn't supposed to know anything about that. Yeah. And she just gets away with it all. Yeah. But her bias is something else.
Yeah. She was the one saying in the local elections, wasn't she? Oh, there's going to be a big... No, the mayoral elections in London. Which
yes.
And she was the one saying, oh, there's some words that actually said Susan Hall's done a lot better than people were expecting. Yeah. And actually, she got like 1%.
But it's her finishes. It's her BBC, her interview finishes. It's when she finishes with Labour, she always says,
absolutely.
Well, other people disagree with you, Minister. Oh, but if it's Kemi Bednock or something, thank you for coming on.
We could have talked so much longer, couldn't we? It would have been lovely.
Even the wine
anytime.
Who was it that did the editorial piece for the Telegraph? I think is it that journalist Tomine who did Whisper It, but Sunak's on the verge of a comeback.
Yes.
There was. I mean, it's just like, well, we've been whispering it. Camilla Tomine. We've not seen this resurgence of Sunak, but
Kunsberg's privately educated.
Oh, please.
Yeah. So is Victoria Derbyshire, though.
Yeah, no, but she's good.
In fact, Emily Maitlis is the only presenter in the history of Newsnight who didn't go to
really. She's really good.
She is good. There's a young Sky interviewer that was the one that was going after the meat tax. After at the Conservative election, she was really good.
Meat tax.
Marina Perkins is very good. She's going to be at the party tomorrow. I've heard a rumor. I don't know if I should be spreading this. I've heard a rumor that Rosie Holt's going to be at the party tomorrow. And I've heard a rumor that a certain man who likes to shout at the camera outside Parliament.
Brilliant.
Jonathan Pye.
But
it's only a rumor.
It's only a rumor.
Great show. Heroes and Villains was fantastic.
God, I wish I'd seen that. Did you go?
I did.
Oh, lucky you.
Yeah. We went on our anniversary. You can tell I'm political. I took my wife there on our anniversary.
I've seen some clips, and I hopefully there'll be a DVD or something.
Colin in the chat is saying, suggesting Susanna Reid. I've always liked Susanna Reid.
Absolutely. I forgot, yes.
When she was BBC News 24.
She's gone a bit off on trans. That was the
Has she?
Well, look, I mean, her and Balls, I think are...
Her and Balls? What?
Her and Balls are a decent double act. I like her. No, the Channel 4 lineup, I believe, for the evening of the election is pretty good. But am I right in thinking they've absolutely inexplicably invited Nadine Dorries on?
Yes.
What on earth?
Is that on Channel 4?
Yes. Why would you do that?
I don't know. Entertainment value.
Is it Rory and Alistair doing Channel 4, aren't they?
I think Rory and Alistair with Christian Gurumurthy and Mateless are all doing... Yeah, they're all on the Channel 4 one. But they've bizarrely invited her on. For balance or something. I don't know.
I think it's not for balance.
Oh, God. For comedy value, yeah.
Ballast, I think. Like when you're in hot air balloon.
Oh, God. Should we talk about the Greens?
The Greens.
Because I can't speak about them, so I'll have to leave it to you two because I know nothing about their campaign.
From LGBT and climate, obviously, really, really good. Nice. Getting rid of Trident. Don't know about that. I worked in defence, so I'm a little bit, I quite like Trident.
Yeah.
But I thought they had a lot of trouble getting media coverage. They were in the debates, which was good, and I think they held their own. I think they were sane and in the room. I mean, having that weird one where the deputy was on with Farage was a bit of a contrast. The last debate that
Adrian Ramsey's his name, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I did. I must admit, I did watch the first half of that whilst on my phone because I just wanted to see Farage be taken apart, and he was brilliantly taken apart by the whole audience. It was fantastic.
Yes,
and of course he's blaming them now. That was a stitch up. That was a left wing stitch up.
Yeah, it was all. They're
all actors.
Because everyone likes racism,
and he won't go on the Rest is Politics podcast. So they were inviting him on, and he won't go on because
he also refused to go on Laura Kuenssberg's Sunday show last Sunday. Wouldn't do that either.
People are it's really cruel to me.
Yeah.
But then I think she's really into Boris Johnson. Still,
he's the biggest snowflake of the lot.
Tim Ballant, thank you very much for the super chat. Tim, Badger gammon is a delicacy in Mark Harper's ex-constituency.
Badger gammon. Oh God.
Soylent gammon instead of Soylent Green. I like that.
Soylent
gammon is people. Yeah, but not good people.
Yeah.
We got sweepstake on how long before Dorries is Ratar. So Ben's had a suggestion at the party tomorrow. We might do a sweepstake to see if we can guess how many Tories are going to lose.
Well, who can get closest to the number that they're left with? Yeah. Because there was a poll out today. I think the last YouGov or Summation poll, 68. I mean, that is extinction level. That's exciting.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean,
are we going to get the Liberals as opposition, though? That's what we want.
Well,
yes, it is.
I'm thinking like this would be up to Parliament.
Yeah.
And therefore, technically, it's probably up to Labour as the majority party whether they want to allow it. And I think they might. Because wouldn't you rather be having discussions each week at PMQs and having opposition day motions coming in, talking about welfare and the economy and the NHS, rather than what toilet Rachel's allowed to use, or some utter bollocks about building a wall down the middle of the
Stockholm
channel? Which is something that Jacob Rees-Mogg said to a bunch of supporters this week. He said he wants to build a wall down the English Channel.
Suella Braverman wants sharks with laser beams on their heads. There you go.
But can they do it on their own? I mean, that's what we were going for with tactical voting.
No, well, they won't be able to, I think, because even the best polling predicts they're going to be around, at best, 10 or so seats less than the fewer than the Tories. But with the Greens and obviously the SNP, if the SNP do pick up the 20 or so seats they're predicted to, but they will probably have more than the Tories.
But look who's going to be left in the Tories. It sounds like it's going to be all the nutters, and if they're going to push really hard to be the opposition, aren't they?
They will do.
Yeah.
But as Graham says, I think it'll be a lot more of a productive
Parliament. It would be so much better.
If Ed Davey is leading an opposition.
And holding Labour to account over the stuff they're doing and whether things they could do better. Especially in the environment, trans rights, things that people actually care about.
And Europe and Brexit. Someone has got to knock this out of Keir's head that he can make Brexit work, and the sooner the better. And
I think he's just saying it to win the election.
I'm hoping to God that's what he's doing. But I've had my mum texting me this evening saying, "Have you seen this in the Guardian, Ben?" Of course, it was originally reported in the Express. He's saying, "Not in my lifetime. It's never going to happen." Blah blah blah. He's going too far on it, and I don't think he needs to. Just keep quiet now. It's a day to go. You've got it. It's sewn up. Don't talk about Brexit anymore. Please.
That's what I said. I said in the politics social chat, day one, we're back in Europe. 400, with our majority straight in. We've just done it. What are you going to do? 5 more years?
Yeah. That's what they should do. It's like joining the euro. Just make the pound worth the euro.
Yeah.
There you go.
Do we want to talk about the SNP campaign?
Have you finished talking about the Greens?
Well, I don't know what else to say.
Well, there's nothing to say about the Greens. We only saw them in the leadership debates, and they did really well. And but
they haven't set the world on fire, have they?
They haven't, and it will always be for me a shame that someone as wonderful as Caroline Lucas is stepping down because we need. And it's the same. I felt the same about her stepping down as I did Mari Black.
Yeah,
these were two powerful voices that you just knew were speaking from the heart. There was no bollocks, no bullshit with them. They meant every word. Yeah. And I think we need more people like that. And it's a real shame. I mean, Mari Black admitted to being bullied out the job.
Yeah.
And it's so sad.
Horrible. It's such a horrible job.
So sad.
Jamie's making good points. With Ed Davey as the leader of the opposition, disability rights as well.
Yeah. And just Graham, The Greens don't want to set the world on fire. It's the opposite, actually.
Oh, very good. Boom, boom.
True,
very
sorry.
good. Very good.
I don't want.
That is my hope. That is my hope.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be great. The Tories are obliterated for a generation, but if the Lib Dems can form the opposition, even as a coalition of opposition, that is just going to be wonderful.
Yeah.
It really will be.
Mercy for badgers. Okay, so SNP.
Well, I mean, credit to Sweeney. What's his name?
John
Sweeney. Credit to him for taking on the job, because it's not exactly been a bed of roses up there in Scotland.
I don't think he's that good.
Probably
Stephen
not.
Flynn is way better.
Stephen Flynn he's their not wild card. He's superb. He's great. And actually,
he's their wild fang.
Credit to him for taking over after the equally brilliant Blackford.
Yeah,
as the SNP leader. Blackford was always spot on.
Yeah.
Didn't he get done for bullying or something?
Oh, maybe, but so did John Burko.
Yeah.
Not real bullying, not like Priti Patel bullying.
Well,
order.
I was very disappointed in John Burko, but someone very close to me actually worked with him in Parliament years ago and said it didn't surprise her.
No, but look, I mean, after all the shit the SNP have been through, you're not going to... Someone as with the presence of Nicola Sturgeon, it's a real shame that it didn't work out for Hamza Yousaf, but he made a bit of a tits-up error there, didn't he, with the Greens? What the fuck did he do that for?
Yeah.
And now this Swinny guy's got the job, but like Graham says, I think it would be great if someone... I mean, at least he's going to be the leader in the House of Commons, Stephen Flynn, because he's great. Yeah. But again, I'm not really too caught up on what... I mean, their campaign has been quite positive about Europe, about forging alliances with Europe, getting back into the EU. Obviously, independence is still on the cards. I don't know, really. They're going to lose a lot of seats. They're going to lose a lot of seats.
As I've said this on the Friday Night Social. They sort of played the sort of Blade Runner strategy. The candle that burns twice as bright burns half as long. Yeah. And they did, on LGBT rights and working with the Greens when Nicola Sturgeon was there. They did so much. There was such optimism and then it all burnt out. And suddenly the scandals, the Section 35 blocking self-ID, the Tories pushing back, and Westminster pushing back. And then, in comes, what was his name again?
John Sweeney?
No, the one before.
Oh, Hamza Yousaf.
Hamza Yousaf. That's right. I'm very old. I don't remember names.
I did like for a moment there when every leader, the main parts of the UK. Oh, we just lost our internet. Man.
Yeah, you froze for a sec.
Oh, we're okay. We're back again, apparently.
No, that's not connected. That's not connected. No, we dropped 28 frames. What's going on, Ben? What did you do to the internet?
I haven't touched it. Is it all okay now?
Why did you break the internet?
Yeah, but look, Rachel's coming through. We can see us on the screen.
Yeah, I can see Rachel coming through, but that is not broadcasting because that should turn yellow.
Oh, should it turn yellow?
Yeah, it should be yellow. What? Did you just hear a voice in your head?
I did.
Oh my God, was that my voice?
It was AI Rishi Sunak.
Do you reckon it was the Russians? Do you reckon they're trying to shut us up?
Hang on, are you sure it should be yellow? Because isn't green good?
Oh, is it green?
Well, green is good, isn't it?
Yeah, it's green.
If something's green, that's got to be good.
Okay, yeah.
Yellow sounds to me like getting ready to be good. Not quite good enough yet.
Or potentially harmful. Anyway, so we talk about the SNP. There was a moment when all the leaders, like the leader of the UK, Scotland, Wales, and what's that other place called?
Northern Ireland.
London. London. Sorry, the great place in
You've had a super chat, buddy.
Then. I know, it's all right.
Yeah.
We'll be there in a moment.
So, are we back on?
Yes, but I've got a super chat that I'm going to have to say thank you very much to Hey Schnugs for over in Denmark. Thank you for the 100 Danish kroner. Hiya, I'm brand new here. I left to live in Denmark in 2016. Thanks for all you do. The fellow on the right seems super familiar. Lol, have I seen him on TV or something? Yeah, Crime Watch.
Yeah, maybe.
He was the third officer in Star Trek Voyager. Yeah.
Hang on, what me? Hang on, I'm on the left though. Hey Schnugs. Well, thank you very much, Hey Schnugs. No, I do a little radio show called SMR.
But right on the screen.
Oh, okay, I see. It's vice versa.
Yeah.
I'm okay. Oh God.
What do you want?
Earpieces come out again.
Miracles, Virgin Birds.
No, it's all good. Oh, it's all right now. I can hear Rachel. No, I don't know what else to say about the SNP. Well, they are predicted to lose a shitload of seats.
Yeah, Labour's going to hopefully do well up there. I mean, I like SNP, but they've gone all compromisey there. I didn't think their prospectus, whatever, was great. And
prospectus, contract,
yeah, manifesto.
Yeah, that's the word.
and it was a bit bland. And Graham and I did a program on all the manifestos for LGBT, and it had gone super safe. I think John Sweeney's a nice guy, but he's a compromise candidate holding two halves of the party together. And he's a nice bloke, but almost.
But in terms of being compromised on lots of issues, I think anybody leading any political party has got that problem to overcome with at least 1, 2, maybe even 3 big policy areas, whatever they are. I mean, even within the Greens, who you'd think would be pretty united on most things, there are going to be areas of division.
But in the old days, I mean, back in my day,
when was your day?
In the 70s. I mean, they had policies, they stuck by them. People either liked them or they didn't like them. They didn't.
You talk about the SNP now?
Well, any party, they stuck with them, and they go, well, we're going to do this with the NHS, and we're going to lower taxes by 3p.
But to be fair though, Rachel, things have got more complicated for lots of reasons. I mean, we're out the European Union; it's an absolute disaster. But there are issues now that weren't a thing in the 70s that parties have had to grapple with and come to terms with.
But we need to have a policy that say we are right. This is, the Rachel party. We are going to join the European Union. We are going to do self-ID for trans people. We will make the NHS free at the point of sale for anybody up to 100,000. We will, and you just have your policies. This is what we're going to do. You find out what's popular. You do that. You stick to them.
Rachel,
and you don't look at Twitter for the next day.
God, yes. Don't look at Twitter. No. But look, my answer to that would be, and it's an age-old analogy, that politics and parties are not taxis, they're buses. You have to hop on the one that goes closest to where you want to get.
Yeah.
And our job from the outside, because I'm not in a political party, and I swear I never will be again.
Splitter.
Is what? Splitter.
Yeah.
What do you mean, splitter?
It's a joke.
Okay, whatever. But our job is to kind of steer them in the direction that we want them to go, putting pressure on them. That's all we're going to be doing with Labour once they're in from day one.
Yeah. But look at just on my I know I'm sorry I always talk about trans rights. This is my thing, right? So there was nobody who was against trans people in 2016. Then, we get a lot of dark funding coming to the UK, the papers, the Tory right. They start to create they create all this distrust and lies about trans people. And then Labour change their view on trans people because they think that's where the country is. It's not where the country is, but that's where the Daily Mail and the Times and the Telegraph are. So it influences. Instead of actually, we like trans people, we're going to stick with it. They don't do that. They go, oh, the Telegraph's going to attack us in the morning if we don't say something horrible about trans.
I think that's more to do with the fact that
this is the issue.
Terrified of the wrath of the tabloids. Talking of the tabloids, the scum newspaper.
It's a lot of them.
Has decided to go in on Labour. A bit lukewarm on it.
At the moment they are,
saying that the Tories over. By the way, I've got 10 krona from Denmark in my pocket. There you go. There's a 10 krona piece there, which is very exciting.
It indeed is.
It is.
What's that in English?
It's about 10p.
Okay. Hey. Should we talk about Labour now?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a quid. It's about a quid.
It's a quid. That's all right.
Well, let's talk about Labour. It used to be before Brexit and stuff. Now it's probably
Okay. I obviously, my big problem with Labour is that he's gone far too hard.
Have we skipped Plaid Cymru?
Oh, God, do they count?
Yeah. Plaid Cymru.
Oh, the Welsh one.
Next one.
All right, we'll do the Welsh one then.
Okay, go on, quickly.
Well, I don't know nothing about them. I'm not Welsh.
They're Welsh.
All right, up the Welsh.
They seem quite nice in the debate.
Well, I just want
Who's David... Okay, can any of us pronounce the name of the guy that's been turning up on the debate?
Well, that was the joke I was going to make.
What's his name? It's literally unpronounceable.
Erin...
Because someone help us in the chat, please. Something. Yeah. He seems like a nice guy.
Yeah,
obviously,
every time.
Yeah, I'm sure they're going to do great in Wales.
Yes.
I know nothing about them.
They're very progressive in Wales.
That's awful. Call yourself a political commentator.
Oh, come on. It's I know, I feel awful. I better not say anything else.
Yes, let's move on.
Well, but no, you wanted to talk about Plaid Cymru.
I know, because we missed them out, and I don't want to miss them out entirely.
No, right, okay.
New Zealand off a map.
Obviously, Re-Labour, I think I get 100%. The Keir has been advised by some pretty clever, pretty savvy people. And the idea of not mentioning Brexit, I would have got. The idea of even tagging along with where he thinks the country's at on that issue, given he wants to break back the red wall from the Tories, I get. He's just gone a little too far for me with some of the more sort of polarised things he said on this issue. Not in my lifetime. We're never going to rejoin the customs market, single market. He doesn't need to say those things. He can just not mention it, get over the line. I'm tempered here and I'm encouraged by the fact that in the last conversation he had with Nick Robinson on the BBC, he said two things that I think perhaps are his get out of jail free card on this. One, He's prepared to change his mind when facts change, when situations evolved. He's admitted to that before. Yeah, I've changed my mind. He said it. 2, he's constantly reiterated throughout this campaign, country first, party second. Now, it's not going to be difficult for any of us on the pro-EU side to say to him, look, the country it's costing £100 billion a year, this. Freedom of movement. Look at the problems with science, cooperation, NHS, farming, dairy, fishing, everything will all be improved massively by at least rejoining the customs union and single market. So that pressure is going to come from us from day one. I just think, apart from that, he's clearly led a really good campaign.
Well, I mean, you say apart from that, but they're going to absolutely demolish the Tories.
Yeah, no, apart from that.
It would be nice if we had all the stuff that we wanted.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, if we're just going to be talking just, subjectively, objectively about an election campaign, he's done bugger all in this campaign, and yet he's going to win by a landslide. Yeah. No one's that arsed. No one's
he's got one job.
No one's majorly enthusiastic about Keir Starmer. He doesn't have a fan club around him like Boris Johnson.
But doesn't that make it all the more remarkable?
The opposition did.
The fact that he's not Tony Blair and he's not Nigel Farage, he's not Boris Johnson, he hasn't got that charisma. Yeah. He is a little bit wooden and boring. Right. No,
and yet, despite that, my father was a toolmaker.
Yes, my father was a toolmaker.
Honestly, really?
But no, he's a silver fox. Don't slag off Keir. But the thing is, despite his lack of personality, he's heading for a landslide bigger than Blair. So I know a lot of that is fueled by anti-Tory sentiment and anger at the Tories. But you got to hand it to him. He's played it pretty cool. And I have to say, in the debates, I think he's pulled off masterclass after masterclass, because he's been up against a very petulant, really tetchy, really rude Rishi Sunak, talking over the host, talking over him, talking over everybody. And yet he's remained calm, cool, with a smile on his face, waited till it was his turn to speak. And actually, he has... People talk about no plan, no policy. I've heard quite a lot.
Tories talk about that.
I've heard quite a lot from him. On the last debate, last Wednesday night, he was excellent, I thought, on the gender ID, the trans issues, and on small boats. He actually came up with stuff. And he
was good then, but he was since then.
Yes, he's not Tony Blair. And that's why I say it's more remarkable, because he's predicted a bigger landslide.
Yeah, he's going to get a bigger landslide.
Yeah, so there you go.
With a smaller number of people voting for them.
Yes.
Welcome to the first past the post system,
Thank God he's not Corbyn either.
Anyway, he who shall not be named. Before we go back to Rachel, can I just say a big thank you to Cathal OG for the super chat for the €5. We always like getting euros on this channel. Done to all who've canvassed, leafleted, talked to family and friends, etc. I don't have a vote, but got involved. Rewards coming soon. Absolutely. Sarah S, a £5 super chat, thank you. Did you see that Kemi Badenoch sacked the UK trade team in the US?
What, today?
Yeah, a couple of days ago she did that. Yeah, it's just salting the earth for Labour.
Very bad Enoch.
Salting the earth. Yes. Salting the earth. Sarah saying I'm Welsh, so if you can't say it, you're forgiven. And it's apparently pronounced Reen Ap Yoath. Or Yoath.
Yeah, if that was written in the way it should be pronounced, which it probably is, actually, I'm still none the wiser.
Yoath.
But no, he seems like a nice chap. He does, He does. No, I'm obviously I'm no Starmerite. I'm not a fan of Starmer, but I just think he's grown into the campaign. I think it was only a couple of days ago when he had Bill Bailey warming up for him. He was more natural, more passionate. He was cycling through, I think it was 41 seconds. He went through all the Tory sins chronologically, and he got the audience on side, and he was rousing more than a little bit of enthusiasm. So credit to him.
Yeah. I mean, Labour's the one I get the most stick from the LGBT community, because I'm a Labour member and I'm a member of LGBT Labour as well. And he got the party ready. We never thought he would from 2019. We didn't think he'd get it match fit, which he has, by also jettisoning all the left policies and going for middle of the policies. He's obviously the Tories have landmined themselves every day for the last 5 years, which has helped. # not the Tories. On LGBT rights, he's been very weak. I mean, he said, we need to have humanity. We need to look after trans people. And that's been good. And then it's like, we're going to accept Cass, a flawed report, because he doesn't want the Daily Mail and the Telegraph attack. We are going to ban trans women from wards without any discussion on that. And Wes has been worse on that. And then it was today or yesterday, we may ban trans women from single-sex spaces. Well, that means I'm he's going to imprison me in my home for the next 5 years. So that would, not be great. And a lot of people on the social media I'm on were saying, how can you vote for Labour? And I said, I don't vote for Labour. I don't support Labour. I'm a member of Labour because I'm for tactical voting. The tactical vote. I'm fighting a war. So D-Day is getting the Tories out. Getting my troops on the beaches in France is getting the Tories out. When I head to Paris, that's PR and press regulation. Yeah. And when I get to Paris, I'm going to vote Green. Yeah. But I need PR first, so I am going to help Labour get him. And I find them repulsive on LGBT, right? I think he's Mr. Wibbly Wobbly, and he could have made a stand. Uncle Phil said he could have made a stand on trans and got more votes, but he was so worried about that. Very chipped, very cracked, very dropped 500 times, stuck together with sellotape and glued Ming vase of his, that he caved. And so the trans community really fucking hate Labour now, but a lot of them are going to vote with their noses pinched. I know I am, because it's the tactical vote in my area.
Exactly, and I think you're completely right on that, because there are so many issues that we could get antsy about with Labour, but this, but that. But you've got to remember the first phase in putting this country right is to get rid of the most corrupt government we have ever had. And a paperclip would be better. A paperclip would be better. Once they're out, then we start to shape it.
If you think about it, Starmer's not offering anything. He's saying he's going to keep on. He's saying he's going to keep the Tories' tax policies, Tories' spending budgets. He's going to continue what the Tories were doing with voter ID, trans rights, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Because he's not trying to win anyone's votes. Have you noticed this?
Yeah.
Because he doesn't need to. He just has to stop the Tory voters from voting for the Tories, for being so scared that Labour are going to come in and ruin everything that they've built up over the last 14 years, all the terrible shit that they've created. Yeah. And I get that. I get that this is a tactical decision. And I think the proof in the pudding is going to be when they're in power, first 100 days, how they behave, what they do, what they say, and what they actually put into legislation. Because, the people who have lent them their vote this time round just to get the Tories out, and there was a survey out today, did you see? It was like voting motivation. Nearly 50% of people voting for Labour were voting for Labour to get the Tories out.
Yeah. And also, see, that puts us as public citizen lobbyists in a very strong position. Yeah. And I know that one of the things Josh wants to do with stopthetories.vote is after the election, when we can prove how much of a part we played as tactical voters in that election, when we club together and start to show our hand on various other issues to steer the government into because like you were saying, it's almost a blank slate that Keir has been campaigning on, which is in a way a good thing. But also the other thing I was going to add was that
not scare the old
people. Is that
not all old people?
No, but the other thing I was going to say is fundamentally the majority of Labour politicians on the front bench and on the back benches are 95% plus good, decent human beings. Yeah, there is simply no equivalent with the Tories. I don't think even 5% of them are, because people often say to me, but Ben, what about the Tories who've actually kept their heads down? They've been working in their communities. They've been making things happen in their community. I have to remind them that, hang on a minute, every single one of them still left that hasn't decided to step down, swore a blood oath to Johnson, knowing exactly what he was like, and a blood oath to Brexit, knowing the damage it was going to cause. So not one of them isn't culpable of the mess, responsible for the mess that we're in. There are no good Tories left. They were all kicked out of the party in 2019, 21 of them. So I have to remind people of that. And this is the first job. Get them out. Yeah. Then we start to make the country better.
Yeah. But before we move on, the only other thing I liked about, the one thing that Keir did say was the realization, and I think it's because he's looked at Macron and what's happening in Germany, that if he does not show the green shoots in the first 5 years, the next government's going to be far right.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and that's going to be a very, very somber warning for him, isn't it?
Yeah.
They need to they need to hit the ground running. I think they're going to have a very, very short summer recess.
No honeymoon period.
Yeah.
Actually, what he was talking this morning about extending Parliament a little bit longer than usual.
Yes.
Ooh. I believe
they have to. They have to, because they've got so much stuff to get done. Yeah. And this is the thing about the Tories. Like, towards the end, they were running out of things to do. Parliament was closing at 3:00.
Yeah.
Because they just didn't have anything to debate. There was nothing, because the Tories weren't coming up with any proposals, any green papers, any white papers. They just...
we hurt trans people enough today. Yeah, we might as well go in there.
Yeah,
but yet you say that, and yet there was still legislation on the books that didn't go through in time. Yes. So it's a combination of incompetence and laziness and lack of imagination.
To go through.
Jeez. Yeah. Should we talk about the Tories then?
Yeah, let's talk about the Tories.
Because that's the most fun, isn't it?
Rachel, have you got anything else to say about Labour as well? Because I think you've got quite a unique perspective on what Labour are doing and why they're doing it. And it is, I find it painful as an ally. And for you, I mean, it must be.
Well, they just haven't offered anything. They're going to make gender recognition easier. Well, we don't know what that means. Yeah. We want self-ID, but like 32 other countries have, without incident, without a guy pretending to be a woman and going into a toilet, because that's never happened. So we want self-ID. They're not offering that.
What about the individual Labour MPs who are obviously pro-trans? And is it?
I think there are. There are some really good, and that's what we're going to see. The ingredient. There are a lot of pro, but there are some gender-correct lobbyists who live in Parliament working on. They work right through the Tory party and the House of Lords.
Tufton Street, Ben. There's basically a group called LGBT Alliance, which is an anti-trans group, and they're based in 55 Tufton Street.
So there's a lot of lobbying in Parliament. And they're just Civitas. All they'll do is they'll write the 480, 500 Labour MPs on a flip chart and go, right, I'm going to go and see Annalisa Dobsterdam, I'm going to work on it. Then we're going to go and see David Lammy, and then we'll work on. And they'll go in with their nasty little facts and figures which aren't true, and try to bend their will.
Was it Harriet Harman they were talking about, who's going to be
now that is good
coming
news.
in on the equalities and,
and
human rights?
Badenoch forgot to sort of, because Baroness Faulkner, who runs the Equality and Human Rights Committee,
she's a nightmare.
It's gone gender critical. Lots of they've been criticised at GANRI, at the UN organisation that monitors them. They've got an investigation coming up. A lot of young people have left. It's a really trouble. They've made single sex guidance to organizations that if they followed it, according to a well-known barrister, the organization would get into trouble for following some of that, could get into trouble
for breaking the Equalities Act.
Yeah, exactly. So they're saying, oh, maybe we should put sex in the Equality Act, Kimmy. And it was like, no, you do that, you're going to exclude trans. So the UK has gone from number 1 in Europe to number 20 to number 17 in Europe for LGBT rights, and it's fallen to 23 for trans rights. And the United Nations, the Council of Europe, has listed the United Kingdom as a country of concern, comparing us to Russia and Turkey. So you won't see that in our media, but we are a country of concern. And a lot of that is to do with trans rights. So the Equality and Human Rights Committee, which should be independent, has been got at, and they've gone full anti, very difficult. Most of the LGBT organizations have difficulty with them. So Krishna was appointed by Liz Truss, who was not exactly happy clappy about trans and non-binary people. So they've done a lot of damage. So Kemi was going to appoint her for another 5 years, Baroness Krishna, whatever her name is, and she forgot to do it, or didn't do it, because Rishi called the election. So Labour get the choice of who the next head of the Equality and Human Rights Commission is. Now, 3 reports I saw today said it might be Harriet Harman, who wrote the Equality Act and is very pro-trans. I mean, she will be balanced. We won't get everything we want, or they could reappoint Baroness Krishna again. And that was another report. Another Labour MP said, well, we might. She hasn't done anything contentious, hasn't she? So we hope that Harriet Harman gets it.
But Rachel, on a very sort of basic level, presumably you do feel that because the grown-ups will be back in the room in Labour, that bending these people's ear and sort of at least getting them to listen to the concerns of all sorts of minority groups is going to be a hell of a lot easier than it has been if you even thought about trying with the Tories, because there's no point anyway.
I think it's not just minorities. Anyone who's not tough.
Yeah,
but you think about it, the arteries of the United Kingdom, the Charity Commission's they allow all these Tufton Street charities and the LGBT Alliance charities and all that stuff. So the Charity Commission needs to be looked at. IPSA needs to be looked at. We need to look at Ofcom that doesn't do anything with GB News.
Ofsted.
Ofsted.
Off what?
Off what?
Ofgen. All of them.
All of them.
Yeah.
And then the BBC. The BBC. When you're in for a long time, you put all your people in all those places. The BBC needs to be fixed. Look at the way look at Question Time. Look what happened to the news quiz. Look what happened to Mock the Week. They took all the contentious stuff off because they were criticising.
And little things as well. I mean, am I right in thinking that Newsnight has shaved 10 minutes off every episode, and that was a good program?
And look how Question Time is so biased. And look what they have. And look at Kunzberg. You've got to put in
Do I have to look at Kunzberg?
No, but you know what I mean. So the Equality and Human Rights Commission needs to have independence. I mean, they said there wasn't racism in the United Kingdom a couple of years ago. I mean, we just know it's all broken. Everything is broken.
Absolutely. But all these minority groups that you're talking about have, I mean, take Water, for example, and Ofwat. You've now got Fergal Sharkey on the case.
Yeah.
And because we've now got high profile people representing all sorts of groups that the Tories could safely ignore because they weren't loaded, they weren't minted and racist, like Frank Hester, Labour are going to have to listen to these people because they've brought with them over the past few years an awful lot of goodwill from ordinary members of the public that have signed up to their campaigns, whether it's Fergal Sharkey with Water or, Carol Vorderman with tactical voting and everything that goes with that. These people have got real weight and clout. Yeah. And I think Labour are going to find it virtually impossible not to listen to them in a way that the Tories can just brush them off and ignore them. And no one
press regulation. They got Alistair Campbell.
Exactly, and Hugh Grant as well.
Done. Yeah, they want it done.
Absolutely.
So do we.
Let's talk about the Tories because I need a laugh.
I before we do that, I've got a couple of super chats to go through. Paul Ewan, thank you very much for the super chat. Question: if the Tories aren't the official opposition, do the MPs get their shadow minister titles, or they are just the spokesperson for? Just spokesperson, I think.
I don't know.
They wouldn't get shadow cabinet, and they wouldn't be able to put in opposition day motions, which is the big one for me because I think
the Tories in committee
get to do it 6 times a year or however many it is, and basically they'll just put in shit. They'll just put in daft, horrible Tory.
Someone
shit.
just mentioned here Steve Coogan as well, being another very prominent, powerful voice. Armando Iannucci. There's an awful lot of people. But you see,
they might be there tomorrow. No, I didn't say that. Anyway, Nathan, hi. Thank you very much for the super chat, Nathan, for your first super chat. Welcome. Ironically, no,
it's just because
ironically that all 5 Tory.
I don't want to get unplugged.
It's okay, right?
I want to stay plugged into.
Look at you on the screen there. You're taking up
I'm not because they don't get near to you. You've told me to budge up to you because otherwise I get unplugged.
Look at the screen and you can see
get a room.
I can feel it slipping out now, Graham.
Oh my god!
And I don't want it to slip out.
I'll do my head like this because we're sharing headphones.
We are. He hasn't got a headphone splitter.
Anyway, Nathan, thank you very much. Ironically, that all 5 Tory PMs in the last 14 years are involved in this failing campaign for the Tories be even more funny when they lose on Friday.
Absolutely. Although Theresa May's not said much, has she? She's kept her head down quite.
And she's standing down.
But the wheat's growing. The wheat's in its full harvest at the moment.
Oh, is she running through the wheat naked? Yeah. Lovely. Wonderful. That's an image.
Naked? I don't think she did it naked.
Well, she will be now. Surely.
She will be.
In her dotage.
Not that warm. Right, the Tories.
Yeah, the
Tories.
The Tories.
Jamboree. Jam.
Well, the first thing to say with the Tories is that has anyone here, I don't know if anyone in the chat has seen the film The Room. We were just talking about this before we came on air this evening as well. There's a film by a guy called Johnny Weissel. I think you pronounce it Johnny Weissel. And he made this film in the early 90s with mysterious money that he'd got from God knows where. No one knows where he came from, how old he is. There's a wonderful film about it that I think James Franco made called The Disaster Artist. But the real original film, 1992 or 3, is well regarded as the worst film ever made. And I was saying to Graham that if all film students were shown that film at university and they wanted to be a director or an actor or a prop designer, whatever it is, just take this film and don't do everything in this film and it'll be great. They'll have a great career ahead of them. That film for me is the campaign equivalent of what Rishi has done over the past 6 weeks. Every single thing the Tories have done, if you didn't do any of those things, you'd have the Lib Dems campaign.
Yeah.
You deserve to be, walking straight into number 10. It's just been... I, on my little radio show, I've done top 10s of Tory gaffes or whatever you want to call them, tit-suppery or nonsense or fails every week. And there's been so many also rants. I mean, I could have gone to 50 every week. It's been unbelievable. The number of things they have either deliberately got wrong or just through ineptness got wrong. I mean, how do we pick a number one?
I think the number one was him announcing the election in the rain.
Oh, Jesus.
Things could only get better. From that moment on, the whole thing has been a disaster for them.
It set the tone brilliantly, didn't it?
They've done everything they could do wrong. They've done it wrong.
I know. And I thought, well, how's it going to get any worse than this? That has set the bar so high.
But then it was the exit sign, and then it was the Titanic Museum.
Oh, my God.
And it was in the first 3 days.
I know. I know, the photo opportunities. And then, of
Mickey
course,
Mouse.
The lie about Labour's £2,000 tax that they were told not to repeat, which he's been repeating throughout the campaign.
The man standing in front of the lady.
Oh, my God, the man standing, yeah.
The D-Day.
And also,
the other massive one.
D-Day
was huge. He left D-Day for no reason whatsoever to
Sky
do
TV.
Oh, no, Graham,
he did.
He did. He left to do an 8-minute interview with Paul Brand at ITV that was broadcast 8 days later, but he had to do it there and then on that day. I mean, that is just... Well, there are no words for that, really, are there?
And then he did the Sky TV quote while he was there, and that was like, that's what you went with, that was it? Sky TV.
I think he said to Paul Brand, it just went on a bit. It overran.
No, they're talking about not having Sky TV.
Oh, no, the Sky TV quote, yes, yeah.
What did you go with that young man who went to Winchester College, which
famously
cost
Sky
30
TV
grand a term when he was there in the 90s?
Well, I have working class friends. I have middle class friends. I have
famously
I
Sky
don't have
TV.
working class friends.
Anushka's asking me in the chat if I'm getting any sleep this week. Probably a little maybe. I'll sleep on the train on the way down to London.
He'll sleep on
you
my
wake
lap.
me up in King's Cross in a kind of reverse Harry Potter situation. Thanks, Ben.
Yeah, that's fine. No, the Sky TV thing was fantastic. And then somebody posted on social media a picture of Sunak's pharmacy in Southampton with a Sky dish on it. So I wouldn't 1 second think you assume he lived above the pharmacy like an ordinary peasant. But I mean, my God. But no, I mean, it changed things for me that moment, because I realised, a life without The Simpsons and without Cribs.
Yeah. No, that's MTV, mate.
MTV, well, that's all on Sky now, isn't it?
No, but it's free to wear.
Yeah, but he's grown up deprived because of that. He's grown up missing out. And it made me feel a little bit sorry for him.
VH1.
Yeah.
Remember the days. Damien, thank you very much for the £5 sub chat, my friend. I was in Parliament yesterday. I forgot to zip my jacket to hide my Stuff the Tories t-shirt. Whoops. Tomorrow will be the F-bomb. Love it.
Absolutely.
Last time I went to Parliament, I had the camera that we're filming this on, right, in my little camera bag, and they took it off me. And I was like, why? He said, you're not allowed to have a video camera in Parliament. And I'm like, I've got my phone. Literally, my phone has a better camera on it than my camera.
Wow.
And they're like, yeah, but there's no rule against that. So there you go. Anyway.
It was like that. It's like when I took that 15 barrels of dynamite underneath.
Oh my God, no.
Yeah, that was
turn
cool.
it around.
Shh.
Yeah.
If it had been 16, it would have been all right.
Yeah.
Don't talk about that. We mustn't talk
about
about that. No. And then, of course, we have Betgate. I mean, or Betting Gate, whatever you're calling it. I mean, which is just... And as Super Tansky pointed out when Craig Williams came to light, I'd never heard of the guy, but she said, go and Google him. He literally looks like what AI would create if you said to AI, make me a Tory.
Yeah.
And he does. He does. It's uncanny. So there was him. And it was like those two
councillors in that crowd when he was doing the fake audience. Yeah. I mean, they were the only two smiling in the audience, and they were the two slightly... sort of, to compared to everybody else that was quite thin because they worked 12 hours a day and were told to stand there. And then the two smiley guys with that was like, you got to pick them out.
I know.
But then bringing in Boris Johnson last night out to the audience who were just like, yeah, Boris. And there's only like 10 of them in the room.
Yeah.
And it was just like, oh, great. Bring back those horrible memories of him being leader of this country in our biggest crisis since the Second World War. Yeah. And there was a guy who called up the radio this morning. He was in tears talking about how he'd been like Boris Johnson coming out. How dare they bring him out when he had to make arrangements for the 12 people that were allowed to go to his son's funeral, his 16-year-old son's funeral, while Boris Johnson was having a party every other night.
Yeah,
I mean, that was a real backfire because, of course, that brings to mind the Queen sitting on her own on the occasion of her husband's funeral the night after one of these bloody parties where a suitcase full of booze was wheeled into number 10. And
sex in the closet.
Yeah, vomit up the walls.
A swing was broken.
Yeah,
wine up the walls. Yeah. Someone was sick in a waste paper basket, and there were loads of baggies of cocaine. Yeah. Well, empty baggies found in the morning by the cleaning staff.
Yeah, and they never investigated the ABBA party, which was probably the biggest.
You're right. Yeah. The one that was meant in Carrie's flat.
Yeah.
That was quietly shelved, wasn't it?
They spent all the money investigating that one beer that Keir Starmer had.
Oh, the beer and curry in Durham.
The house that Angela Rayner lived in for a couple of weeks.
And they weren't going to investigate it at all till the Good Law Project sued the Met.
Yeah.
I mean, the question that I think will remain forever for most people, certainly me, is how much of this campaign was Rishi being stitched up by someone in his own team, or just unbelievable ineptness?
Well, he had
you can't be that stupid, surely.
Yes. Yes,
But there's a lot of this. They've got the 5 families. There's a lot of factions that won't run for him. Then there's a lot of people who want to be leader that won't speak for him. And so he was almost out there on his Todd.
Rachel, you mentioned this at the beginning of your list of things. You talked about going to the Titanic Quarter. Now, you would have thought that somebody on that campaign bus, on that team, would have thought, right, is there any way this could play badly for us? We're going to have lots of photos taken at the place where the Titanic was built.
He might have said, you know how that might have gone? He might have gone, hey, but didn't the Titanic get built here? No, it's okay, Prime Minister. The Britannic was built here too.
Oh my God, okay.
But that sank too, didn't it? No.
But this is what I'm saying, you see. I just can't believe that everybody around him was equally stupid.
Come on, there's got to be purpose behind this. Like, let's put the clues together, shall we? Let's play a game. Right, so you got Rishi Sunak, one of the richest men in the world, who is our Prime Minister, who made 120 million last year by doing nothing, sitting on his tiny little arse, doing nothing, because he just got that out of his shirts, right? He wants to leave the job. He's sick of it. He hates all the people he works with. And why wouldn't you? I mean, he has to work with Kemi Badenoch and Suella Braverman and the like. And he just wants to go to his forever home of America, go to California where the weather's nice, and just live by the pool for the rest of his days. And basically, he's also in a party where everyone likes to have a flutter, obviously. So I think he's had a flutter, and he's done a Brewster's Millions. He's put £1 million down for the Tories to get their worst election result since 1832. And they've gone, bloody hell, that's a bit much. I'll give you 100 to 1 on that. And he's gone,
yeah, because how much is enough money, eh?
It's like he's not trying. Today and yesterday, Pink News did some interviews with the 2 leaders. I'm surprised they got full interviews, but they did. And, Starmer was wibbly wobbly right through the whole trans stuff again, like he always is. And he sort of got through the interview and you read it and it's all the stuff he said, Cass and single sex. But honestly, Rishi doubled down on all the stuff. Going to ban trans people from single sex spaces, going to ban them from hospital. Sex is it's absolutely written in stone. Gender isn't a thing. I mean, blimey, mate, dial it. Really stick to your morals there, right? The day before.
Your immorals, you mean?
Absolutely. Immorals. And actually, that's just brought to mind something else that he did where he was doubling down. I don't know if you remember the debate. It was, I think, the Question Time one, where at the end he was heckled off as the music was playing, and it was shame on you, shame on you. Well, that was in response to him saying that he would leave the European Convention on Human Rights. This wonderful guy in the audience was saying that leaves us in a club with Russia and Belarus. And also fair play to Fiona Bruce for bringing him up on this foreign court bollocks.
Not foreign court.
It's not a foreign court. It's an international body that we helped create, set up. We've got judges on it. I mean,
he said, but it's in Strasbourg. That was his excuse.
Come on, Farage. You like all this Spitfire stuff on your bloody profile. Well, Mr. Churchill was the one who set the bloody court up.
This is where I'm encouraged, though, because that entire audience were against him on that. They've wised up. They all saw the Patrick Stewart sketch on the European Convention on Human Rights. So they know how important it is that we're in that international body, and we don't want to be in the same club as Russia.
Do you know who the first president of the European movement was?
No, tell me.
Winston Churchill.
Really?
Yep. It's
there we go.
Currently Lord Heseltine. And the chair or whatever is Mike Galsworthy. He'll be at the party tomorrow. And Emma, thank you very much for the super chat. Emma, who came with us flying.
Oh, is that Emma?
Yeah, that's Emma from flying.
That is
but
so
OMG, didn't know the stream was on. Ben Graham, Northallerton, June 2024.
Hi, Emma. Hi, Emma.
Honestly, if he loses by 5 votes, I'm going to be bloody chuffed.
We did
that. Once in a lifetime opportunity to put Rishi Sunak in the bin where he belongs.
For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, we went Thursday last week to Northallerton in Rishi Sunak's constituency with Emma and,
in the chat,
and 8 other people, and we flyed 2,500 leaflets to homes in every area of the town. Obviously, we couldn't do every single house, but every part of that town has had these leaflets. They all talk to each other. So we've done our bit. It would have been great if we could have gone to Richmond and Catterick as well. But Rishi's scared. He's scared.
There was a couple of articles today, actually, in the newspapers about him actually being mortally afraid that he's going to lose his seat, which would be so embarrassing.
Oh, my God.
So good.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it will be brilliant.
It would be wonderful.
But the thing is, right, if, he loses, then they're just going to have an MP. That's fine. But if he wins, he's going to piss off anyway after 2 weeks. We're going to have a by-election.
There'll be a by-election.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's going to be bad anyway, because it was like Badenoch not winning her constituency because of postal votes. Labour will have time to throw everything they at that and knock her off.
That's a good point.
And it's the same with him.
I haven't thought of that.
Badenoch, this is the really interesting. So this come out today, hasn't it? About Badenoch. This is hilarious. So we talk about having a bad campaign. So Badenoch obviously wants to be Tory leader after they lose. And there's a chance, right, that because there's been such a fuck up in her particular constituency over postal voting, it means that the Labour side will have a very, very good case for rerunning the election in that constituency. If that happens, she won't be able to run for leader because the leadership election is going to take place straight away for the Tory party. I mean, this is actually going to hang around.
Oh dear, what a shame. Never mind.
Actually, Phil was saying today, wouldn't it be funny if literally there were none of the people who wanted to be contenders like Penny Mordaunt, etc. Imagine if they all lost their seats, and so Rishi Sunak had to stay leader because just no one else could do it.
In the interest of the country, the most moderate candidate would be the best person to take over the leadership of that party and help rebuild it over hopefully the next 25 years. So it can be taken seriously again. That clearly isn't Braverman or Badenoch.
No.
It's probably Penny Mordaunt. I can't think of anyone else, but she's.
I think Penny Mordaunt can be brought back from the dark side.
She could be brought back from the dark side.
You might think I'm being
No, you're not. I don't think you are. She's the most moderate of the lot, but she could lose her seat, and she's one of the most predicted to of those three. She's more likely to lose her seat according to tactical voting advice.
The others are so nutty. I mean, it's like,
they're not
moving
just
to the
nutty.
right. We lost all those votes. We lost the middle vote. We're going anti-woke. You know, that's gone bad for us. Been all the hate and the campaign and the climate denying and meeting with all those nasty think tanks. That hasn't worked for us. So what are we going to do? Are we going to go back to the centre? No, we're going to.
This is what baffles me.
We're going to move even further to the right.
We're going to battle refuck for this tiny rump of voters who are elderly, grumpy idiots who are literally dying out.
Yeah.
And who don't seem to want people to look after them.
You see that being someone who's not looking to stand gloating at this fire in front of us, if it was Penny Mordaunt or someone equally moderate that was able to bring the party back to the centre, let's not forget that although I'd never have voted Tory, there are people who left that party that I now admire greatly. Rory Stewart, Anna Soubry.
Penny is nuts. She's just not as nuts as the others.
Exactly. She's the most.
She's the one who's like held a sword and then said, "Stand up and fight." 17 times for no reason.
Stand up and fight. Dressed up as Poundland with her sword.
I've always liked Caroline Noakes. I mean, she's like, low tax. She's always been socially really inclusive. I mean, conservative right on fiscal, monetary, and low taxation.
Yeah.
But on the left, she's been really, really good for trans and always fought for trans rights and spoken.
Sorry, who are we talking about now?
Caroline Noakes.
Caroline Noakes. Now, is she okay? Is she standing? She's
down in Portsmouth somewhere. I think she's going to lose her seat. I think.
Okay.
Hornsey.
Hardly anyone's going to keep their seats. QA Library saying they have short memories. Back in '97, the Conservative government threw 3 leaders. Yeah, it was. Who was the old guy from Richmond, Yorkshire guy? William Hague.
William Hague. Yes, he was up there. Yeah.
Michael Howard.
Yep.
Ian Duncan Donuts.
But isn't it funny? But it's like the brains, isn't it? It's like we all think that Theresa May is like an elder statesman and John Major's an elder statesman because the intergalactic zombie lords took over. They don't look so bad now.
Yeah, but I mean, Theresa May under her watch. Yeah. The Windrush scandal happened. Yeah. The go home van, the hostile environment happened under her watch.
Yeah, well, she created that.
But now they look at her as being mellow and
she's the one who made the Citizens of Nowhere speech in Birmingham back in 2016,
and kept repeating Brexit means Brexit with absolutely no understanding of anything at all. And so I and again she comes across as moderate compared to the complete.
Yeah, and John Major, he had all the scandals, he still implemented Thatcher policies, and he was all really boring and exciting. But now
that was a good impression.
We all think
it was. Great. And in fact, the only problem with that impression is it does sound incredibly crossover with Keir Starmer. I said a bit Keir Starmer.
No, you have to get more of a cold.
I was a bit more nasal for Keir.
Yeah, toolmaker.
My father was a toolmaker, my mother was a nurse.
More nose.
More peas, dear. No, I'm sorry, they were almost interchangeable.
Hello, Edwina. She's much lower. Hello, Edwina.
But the thing is, I'm thinking of the spitting image impersonation of John Major from back in the day, which was more peace there, Norma. But the thing is, this is the day when, back in those days, a Tory scandal was being caught with your pants down maybe once.
Cecil Parkinson.
Having a duck house built in your pond with some public money. Now, they're off the charts.
But they used to, because when I was working in defence, that was Westland and Heseltine resigned over Westland, and Howe resigned over Europe, and Cecil Parkinson bonks Sarah Keys, and he resigned over that, and they resigned when they did one thing wrong.
Yes. They resigned. They walked.
Imagine resigning on a moral issue. Wow.
But there'd been none left already. Yeah. I mean, actually, he had the majority of 80. I think that is down to under 40 before the election was called, and that is expelled from the party, chucked out, resigned, lost the whip for some scandal.
They got Matt Hancock back in the last couple of days before.
I didn't know that.
Parliament, yeah,
but he's standing down.
They gave him back the whip, yeah.
But he is still standing down.
So he could see out his days as a Tory MP. I'm sure there's some
you may well be right. You may be right.
Linked to that. But
probably a pension or a bonus or something.
He was brought back into the bosom of the party. Emma, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. I've given my siblings their tactical vote. We live in different areas. My nephew, 22 years old, has already told my brother his tactical vote. So much hope. Yes.
Yeah.
So much hope.
So much hope. I mean, this is what we're pushing on this channel. I know we were Labour Social, but now Politics Social. Tactical voting. We want people to vote tactically wherever you are in the UK.
Yeah, still got it.
Yeah. Oh, cool. I've got my new book, but
what you mean the Tory one?
The Tory one.
Yeah, I said that.
Yeah. It's the Democrat one.
All right.
Ready for the US election.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Just a couple of days early, that's all. But yeah, wherever you are in the UK, go to stopthetories.vote and type in your postcode and find out who the tactical vote in your area is. You might live in a safe seat for Labour or the Lib Dems or whatever, and it'll just say vote with your heart, vote for whoever you want. But if you live in a seat that can be taken from the Tories, there are no safe seats in this election for the first time in British electoral history.
And coming back to a point we made earlier, and Rachel brought this up as well, is that if people did follow that tactical voting advice, Lib Dems would easily be the sole opposition party. So, and I think last night, Carol Vorderman tweeted that the site had 4 million hits in. I don't know whether that's recently or overall.
Oh, that was because of all the.
But we had Hugh Grant and Gary Neville tweeting about it.
Hugh Grant, Gary Neville, Billy Bragg, and our Carol.
It's all good. It's all good.
You got to check it out. You got to.
And Simply Red, of course. Simply Red tweeting it out.
Yeah, Mick Hucknall.
Something got him started.
Got him started. Yeah.
I still can't quite forgive him for robbing Pulp of their number one slot with his terrible song Fairground back in 1995. But at least he's helping.
And I can't forgive him in 1992 for having to share. He forced the KLF to share Best British Act at the Brits for being a middle of the road band. Really,
Was that the one where was that the Brits where Carter beat up?
No, that was the Brits where Bill Drummond fired blank ammunition into the audience and then dumped a dead sheep on the steps of the Lancaster Gate Hotel for the after party.
Goodness.
Brilliant.
That was quite something. That was when pop was.
That was when pop was bonkers.
Yeah, exactly.
Did they burn like £1 million?
They did burn £1 million. Oh, that's another debate.
Good days of Britpop.
They literally burned £1 million for the camera, but the Tories have done far worse. And you know what? On the scandals, we've forgotten this one. Dido Harding walked off with 37 billion. There's been no investigation. Where has that money gone?
Yeah.
For a failed test and trace app.
For an
app. I mean, seriously?
An app.
37 billion.
And what I love about this is it's the same sort of story about the Boris Johnson magic, the Garden Bridge they never got built. They spent like millions on a bloody website. Yeah. And it's because these old doffers have no idea how the internet works or what an app is or anything like that. They all think it's witchcraft and wizardry. Yeah. So someone turns up and says, I'll make you a website. And they're like, how much will that be? And they're like,
$1 billion.
500. And they're about to say pounds. And then they look around, they go, 500,000.
Yeah,
£1,000.
And of course, there's the 4 billion plus in unsorted fraudulent COVID loans.
I hope I hope some of this comes out when Labour get in. I hope they actually do open a few.
Well, I hope so too. And apparently, this is something Rachel Reeves was talking about. There is going to be a COVID crime type commissioner who's going to go after all this fraudulent shit and tidy it all up. Yeah. So that's a a good thing. That's
and they're also going to be doing an investigation into HS2, was it?
I think so.
There's two investigations. We need one into Russian interference, which might happen because even the Tories are whinging about Russian interference in this election. So when we talk about reform, we need to talk about bots.
The one thing we know about the Russia report, the one thing we know categorically, is that our government turned a blind eye and didn't want to know whether Russia was interfering in the EU referendum in 2016 and then the following election in 2017. That's what we do know. we know that they didn't want to know. I mean, that's all we need to know.
Yeah.
I just can't believe.
Do you know?
Yeah, and then of course you've got Boris Johnson traipsing off to Lib Dems' party in Italy, didn't he? He ditched his security detail. God knows what was promised or winked at that party.
Yeah.
This
Nobody
is where we
holds
were.
it to account. The Met or the MI5, I don't know, or MI6. They don't know why they don't.
Yeah.
Why they don't.
So, Rachel, we're going to have to wrap it up there because you have to go in about 4 minutes.
Soon. The wellies are going to turn up soon.
The wellies are going to turn up.
They're not here yet.
Ben needs to go home. He only popped in for a pizza, and I roped him into doing this show.
We got a long night tomorrow night.
We have.
Absolutely, yeah.
We'll be up all night. So before we go, quickly, can you think of like the highlight and the low light of this election campaign?
Oh my
Any
goodness.
party?
Oh, blimey.
Do you want me to come back in a bit?
Yeah, give me a minute.
Ben.
I can do that fairly easily. For me, the highlight of the campaign has been the positive campaign that the Lib Dems have run.
Yeah.
To be honest, I think this country could do an awful lot worse than Ed Davey as leader. He's the kind of person that needs to be Prime Minister. He's a genuine, empathetic human being. He's got a small but great team behind him. So that's been my highlight of the campaign. Low light isn't really a low light because it's all good fun. And that's just got to be Rishi in the rain announcing the election with the D
That was going to
Ream
be my
song.
highlight.
That
wasn't going to be my low light.
Okay, that's my low light, but it really is a highlight, if you know what I mean.
That was Rishi in the rain.
Rishi in the rain.
Okay, Rach, have you got something for us?
So the highlight was led by donkeys, I think, for me. That was.
So this is Nigel Farage on a stage, led by donkey signs, slowly comes down, Banksy style.
Beautiful.
With a picture of Putin with I love.
Somebody needs to get sacked.
Nigel.
It was so good.
Pull it down.
Yeah, that didn't work.
Yeah, so that was, I think the low point, I mean, from a trans point of view, was Keir saying, well, I agree with Tony Blair. Women have vaginas and men have willies. Yeah, really? Okay, that's an interesting definition. So, because I have a vagina, getting a bit sick, and does that make me a woman in your view? I don't think it does in your view, but if that's what you're saying, well, thanks very much. But the future Prime Minister stands there and says that, it's just like, and you put square pegs in square holes and round things in round holes. I mean, it just sounds, what the why are we here talking about that at a debate in politics about, and that was probably the low point, that he was quoting Tony Blair.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I think my low point would have been Farage just coming into this whole thing because I hate his stupid
that has been
bollock face. I really wish he would just fuck off into the sea forever. Thank you very much. Get him into a Titan sub. Send him down to see the Titanic. Don't let him come back up. That would do me. Or blast him into the sun. I don't know. I've probably just got this video demonetized forever, but I don't care. I hate him with the burning fury of a billion suns.
It is like playing that game when you bang the rats, isn't it? You know, you just getting rid of one. And boom, hello,
and then he pops up again.
Boom.
Yeah.
Oh god, yeah. Him walking down the aisles of Clacton Town Hall or whatever it was to the M&M track. Guess who's back? Like he's some kind of fucking rock star.
Well, and just bring things back full circle. Yeah, my highlight was things can only get better.
Yeah, that was so good.
Being played by Steve Gray, who'll be there tomorrow. He should be there.
Classic
Steve.
Hey, don't nick his hat.
He's on my guest list. What? I won't steal his hat. I've got my own hat.
What, you mean like Lee Anderson did?
Lee Anderson.
Oh, did he?
Lee Anderson famously
nearly punched him.
Assaulted him in the street there.
Neanderthal.
He's been quiet this campaign, like Rees-Mogg.
Yeah.
I wonder why.
Rees-Mogg's going to lose.
They have been very quiet.
Rees-Mogg is down to lose, which is good.
Yeah.
He can get in the sub.
He'll go back to 1850. He'll get his time machine going. He's going to be
the haunted pencil.
Yeah. So, okay, right, before we go, how many seats do you reckon the Tories are going to get tomorrow, Ben?
I want to say that the last polling of 68 is correct, and that would be great. I mean, honestly,
68.
Less than 70 was what Carol Vorderman was going for, so I'm going to say less than 70.
Okay, no, but you can have number. So
68, I'll go with 68.
Okay,
that would be
Rachel,
so
how many are you saying?
71.
71. I'm going to go with 47.
Oh, come on.
Do you know what? Hope's things eternal.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. Thank you so much for joining us. Thanks to Ben. Thanks to Rachel for coming on. Rachel's going to be dragged away now by air indoors. And I just want to say thank you so much for all the super chats and for the chat, for the banter, for our socialites. I'm going to be back in the morning at 9:30 with a special edition of Morning Brew with me and Phil Morehouse. We're going to be hosting it together. It'll be a bumper show. Please come along to that. And then obviously tomorrow night we are going to be having a marathon election night live stream from 9 in the nighttime till 7 in the morning. So please join us for that. God. Can't wait.
It's going to be great. It's going to be great. It's Christmas.
It's Christmas. Anyway, thank you all so much. And until next time, I'll say hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, nice one.